We are now joined by Matt Kenseth, driver of the number 6 Wyndham Rewards Ford. Matt, you picked up your first Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series victory in the Coke 600 18 years ago, driving for Jack Roush. Can you reflect on that just a little bit and then talk about what it would mean to return to victory lane this weekend with newly minted Hall of Famer Jack Roush?
Yeah, I'm happy for Jack to finally get in the Hall. He certainly deserves to be there. He's put over 30 years of his life into this sport, so it's that was really neat to see that yesterday. I'm proud of him. Happy to be able to be a small part of that and enjoy a lot of the successes that he's been able to have in the sport. So yes, that's exciting.
We'll open up for questions for Matt. If you have one, please raise your hand and we'll bring you a microphone. Jerry?
Jerry running KickingTires.net, Performance Racing Network. How's it been? You liking it being back here? I mean, you rethinking going back and driving a school bus yet or anything? What's it been like?
Well, we're not very far into this yet. I mean, Kansas was a struggle the whole weekend. Last weekend was very unique, running restrictor plates and all that stuff at Charlotte and All-Star format and stuff. So that was kind of different. So I was glad to be able to get on the track and get a full practice in today. Hopefully weather will be good and we'll be able to get a qualifying session in tonight and go back to work Saturday. So I feel like we learned a couple things today so far, and hopefully get qualified respectable and get back to work Saturday on race trim.
But being where you were in the past and where you are now with schedules and things of that nature, has it loaded you up more than what you expected, or do you get to control what happens in the day-to-day?
I wish I could control everything that happens. No, I mean, I've been doing this a fairly long time, and the schedule's not really any different than what I thought it would be, assuming you're talking about my weekends and weeks right now. So no, I mean, nothing really, no real big surprises yet.
Over here.
Matt, they decided not to run the same aero package as the All-Star race. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Would you like to see them do the same thing? It was a pretty competitive race.
No, not if I'm driving. I thought the racing was this is just my opinion. I thought the racing was pretty entertaining Saturday. I thought the Open, assuming that's what they still call it, was really good. But yet we all have really short memories. If you think back a year ago, the Open was really, really exciting too with this aero package. So I don't know. You gotta be careful about taking that little of a sample size and just saying this is going to be the greatest thing ever, because we've all seen that, and when you take a rules package and you give it to the garage and let them work on it for a month or so, I think you're going to have things looking very similar to how they looked before you change that. I think the low downforce thing is a good example of that. I think the racing, in my opinion, even from being home this year, has been really, really, really good and really entertaining, and still about driving race cars and not doing just restrictor plate racing and being in line and doing all that kind of stuff. So I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was a good thing to try. I don't know if it's necessarily what I would want to see to run on a weekly basis, but it was okay.
We'll go to Deb next.
Deb Williams, racing today in ESPNW. With the way the sport has changed, do you as a driver have as much input into your setups as now, or do the engineers and the simulations and all seem to outweigh that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think a lot of drivers out here today, myself included, I knew bits and pieces here or there, but really know and understand necessarily the whole setups the way they're all derived today with the no ride height thing. And I think it's more engineering and aero, than it is anything else. So if you're short, on one department, if you're off on downforce, you just don't have a chance. So I mean, it's different than what it once was. I mean, I think you need to, understand the car the best you can, give the best feedback you can to your crew, and try to field changes and relay that and look at data with them and make them understand what you're going through in the car and what you're feeling like and what you're looking for. But in today's day and age, you got to have people that all the right people that are smart enough to diagnose all that and figure out how to fix it and give you what you need. So that's a little different than it once was. Yep.
Well, Matt, we appreciate you joining us today. Good luck this weekend.
Lee has a question, I think, unless she just had an itch.
We scratch it.
Oh, I saw this, but then I wasn't sure if it was,
What was the team meeting like this week when, after being there your second week and just kind of, getting back with the group and chatting it up?
It was fine. You want more than that? Nothing really any different. Just trying to, we've had 2 races with 2 very different, formats, aero packages, engine packages, and all that. So, it's, for me anyway, it's still pretty new, and there's a lot of different things to try to work through, or at least that I would like to work through, and just trying to keep getting a better feel for it every week, and kind of try to give my opinions for what they're worth and what I feel like we could do different and better, and what we're doing good, is that type of thing. So nothing really real different. Yep.
Right here.
Matt, Mike Solarte, Spectrum News. With you returning at Kansas and then the All-Star race, and now you have the longest race, I'm trying to phrase this in a general way. How is your fitness for 400 laps? Because you haven't done as much racing this season. You look in great shape, but this is a grueling test for you guys over the course of day to night.
Yeah, I think I'll be okay. I think I'll make it. I'm in. Not that anybody ever wants to brag about anything, but as far as where I've been the last 20 years, I'm in pretty good shape right now. I've had a lot of time to train the last 6 months, and so I'm not worried about the physical aspect of it. I'm more worried about trying to keep up, get our cars a little faster, so we can, first of all, stay in the lead lap. Second of all, hopefully start moving forward and getting kind of in the mix and start to get forward. So, but certainly I think it's tough on anybody, no matter what kind of shape they're in, with that long a race, and being that, if it's hot, and staying hydrated and eating right and getting sleep and doing all those things. But just pure physical fitness, I feel pretty good right now. I've had a good few months, and I feel pretty good.
Daniel?
Dale McFadden, NBC Sports. Since you won this race in your rookie season, how has your philosophy, strategy-wise, to this race changed in the years since then, especially with the introduction of stages last year for this race?
I just, so many things have changed. It's been a lot of years, and there's just been so many changes since then, mainly with the cars, but some of the biggest ones are, probably not as adjustable as they once were, and the track goes through a fairly big change, but there is no more, pacing yourself or, choosing a certain gear because you want your engine to live, and like all that stuff is kind of all in the past, so it's different. Everybody just runs as hard as they can every lap, for 5 hours to try to get the best finish you can, because you just can't afford to give up spots, can't afford to pace yourself unless let somebody in front of you, because you might never get back around them. So I'd say that's the biggest part. There's not a ton of attrition and problems, and the survival thing isn't quite what it once was. The cars are certainly way more comfortable and more creature comforts than what we had when I started, and they drive better. They got way more downforce and side force, and so I think those things make it different. It's pretty much, you don't approach that 600 miler any different than if it was 300 miles, to be honest with you. You can't really not run hard. Yep.
Matt, thanks again for joining us.
All right,
Appreciate
thanks.
the time.